Hello, Chickaletta. Did you have your first eggs, little Chickaletta? From one of your 3 husbands? I don't know who gave you babies, but let's go check out your cute little eggs.
Seven, 9. The second 9 and 10?
I think we need to work on your
The
counting.
3.
Oh, wow, yes.
3.
You're right. Look how tiny and sweet they are. We're going to leave them to rest. Oh, shh, there might be babies sleeping. I don't think that's how it works, but hopefully Chickaletta will sit on them and we'll have babies. Okay. Say goodnight, little eggs. Good night. When one of her little eggs rolls out from under her, she tucks it back in under her belly. Chickens are so sweet. Hi, Chickaletta. Hey, you're gonna be a mama. Yay! 7 eggs. Let's see if we get any babies. We're going to check on Chickaletta and see how she's doing. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. It's really dirty in here. Hi. So, Chickaletta is now sitting on 10 eggs. We're gonna see who comes out. She's fully broody. Has not left this spot in probably a week now. She's a cutie. Bringing her water and food occasionally to see if she'll take anything, because she just really does not want to move. Let's see how it goes. What? So here's a quick video update on what we've been doing with the coop. It's always a work in progress for these guys. We just fixed this gate up. Now it doesn't lean. Yay! Because we put that bar in between. And yeah, now it's not going to break off the hinge. Yeah, I agree, guys. I totally agree. So the boys now have their own spot in the coop. We put a fence right down the middle so that, sorry, it's super messy. Well, why am I apologizing? They're chickens. So that now Chickaletta, who is sitting on her eggs, has her own space and the boys won't bug her. They never did. They are fantastic chickens, right? Brothers and sisters, and they're so good together because, you know, everyone worries about them being super aggressive, and we've had them for, how long have we had them for now?
8 months maybe?
8 months, that's it? I feel like we've had them longer. Anyway, look at them bugging each other. So we had in the beginning, we had 14. We got rid of a whole bunch and we only kept these 4, and we didn't know what the gender was, so we were just taking a leap of faith. They're fantastic together, but now that Chickaletta is about to have her babies, we want to separate them for sure, and just to make sure that she's nice and safe and has her own space. So she has all this space here, and I can't say this too loud, but we're planning on getting DUCKS for one of our boys, and so those babies will have this space with Chickaletta and the babies as well. So for now, because I don't have a gate or any way to get inside, I've put these little stepping stones here because I'm super short, so I can get over. So I step over top for now, and we extended this fence just to go straight down the middle of the coop, so it goes right inside. Staple gunned it to the back of the wall. This is her nesting box right now, which is usually up higher, but I put it on the ground so when she has the babies it's just easier for them to get in and out. If you guys have any tips on that, please share. Babies, it's her first time having babies, and she's sitting on 10 eggs right now, and she's doing so good. Chickaletta, want to hear her cute little noise when she gets angry? Chickaletta. Hi, baby. Everyone loves you. I promise I'm not trying to bug you. Sorry. Love you. You're so cute. Yeah. So this is a little update. It's a little sectioning off so the boys have their boy. Oh, I'm so tired. Have their door that they can get out of over there. And this big one can still open on this side. It's on hinges still, so we can still open that for when everything needs to be cleaned out. And this one can open and close by itself too. And then I'll put a gate over there. And we have the plastic and the extra metal from our roofing on top of the coop right now to protect from the rain and the weather. But this is going to be our first winter having this coop outside, because originally we had this entire coop not indoors, but it was in this shed, which it goes off inside into our garage. So we moved the entire thing outside because we needed that space, and we think it's just a better idea to have it out here. But if you guys have any tips for more protection for them, not just from wildlife, but from the weather as well, because this will be their first winter being out here instead of having the extra protection being inside the garage. Oh, she's sleeping. She's so cute. So if you guys have any tips, please comment and give me some ideas of how I can make this more insulated. I do have a heat lamp. I have multiple heat lamps I can run. For sure I can put in here, but just, I don't know, any ideas. It's my first time with chickens, so I'm learning, but we love them. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed this little update. God bless. So I'm starting to sow seeds today. I'm going to show you guys the garden bed. Now that all the hay is spread out, it is very fun. I've created a path down the middle so that I can walk down and access everything. Except I didn't really think about that when I planted the garlic, as you can see. There's no path, but that's okay. And when you get to the end here, this is where I'm going to be doing all of the squash and watermelon, and I'm going to be building some trellises off to the side there and doing cucumbers. And hopefully this will be enough space. And right now I've got them covered with these little containers, which are acting like little, sorry, there's a bug on my arm, greenhouses. And during the warmer weather I'll remove those, but until it's, you know, perfectly warm weather, I'm going to keep them covered, the seeds covered for a bit, because it's still a little cool on and off here, especially because we're farther north, so it gets colder longer until the good warm season starts. So let's go back. I'm going to show you guys how I started my seeds. So as you can see here, there's little plots that I've made where I've just separated the hay. So the hay is going to be an awesome mulch, but I need to separate it here in these plots until the seeds come up and start sprouting, and I'm hoping that'll happen pretty soon. And I'm going to continue making sections as we go down here as I continue to plant, and we'll see what happens. This is just a little bit of progress I wanted to show you guys. If you have any questions about the bed and what I'm doing, feel free to ask, and feel free to give me any advice, because this is the first time I've ever really done any of this. Actually, I've done raised beds before, but not like this. Blue, what are you doing? So yeah, this is some progress. Just wanted to share it with you guys. Hope your gardening is going well and you're having fun. Kale time. I don't even know what kind of kale this is. I don't even know how old these seeds are, but we're gonna plant them. We eat a lot of kale. I've always had surprisingly good luck planting kale. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sprinkle them down in rows, and then as they come up, I'm going to thin them out. Usually I just do one seed at a time, but because I'm planting on a much larger scale this time, I really don't want to do that. So let's see how this works out. You guys are so loud. I'm planting some beets next. This company is amazing. If you don't know West Coast Seeds, we love them. We've been using them for years. I'm gonna plant some beets here. And I've always had great, holy cow, great luck with beets too. So I don't know if I'll go too crazy with them. I might separate them. We'll see. Oh, there you go. Check out these bad boys. They're actually this large. I'm going to try this out in 2 spots and see what happens. I'm so excited to see if they actually get this big. That's crazy. Okay, we're gonna see how long I last out here. The black flies are horrid. And I think it just started raining. And it started raining, but I wanted to escape from the indoors, from the children, and from the chickens that are making way too much noise. Okay, so I'm going, oh, they're still crazy loud. I want to give you guys some tips and advice on planting, especially kale, because as you saw, we plant a lot of kale. Kale is just one of those things that we use a lot. I don't eat it enough raw. It's so good for you. Super high in minerals and nutrients. It's a superfood. I feel like everybody already knows that by now. And it's super easy to grow, especially if you're in colder climates. Can you guys see these bugs? Can you see them? It's bug season. It's just starting and it's not nice. And so, sorry, what was I saying? Okay, kale, super high in nutrients, super easy to grow, and when you're in colder climates, is very frost hardy. So you can plant early and you can sustain it later. We actually had kale growing far into November, and it's like heavy snow, like it'll get covered with snow and we still have kale growing. We've never covered it before in like snowy weather, and I believe, at least from what everyone's telling me and from what I've heard, is you can cover it and sustain it even longer, so you can extend your harvest that way. And kale is, like I said, so high in nutrients. So it's one of those foods that you just always want to have on hand, and it's super easy to store it too. So you can use it in soups, and you can jar it if you want. What we do is we freeze it so we can bust it out and just use it in soups or in smoothies. We use it a lot in smoothies. So whenever my husband makes his morning smoothie, he'll add kale to it. Or if I make my kids' smoothie, I have a recipe somewhere for one of my kids' favorite smoothies is, well, they have 2 favorites, but their most favorite one is the peanut butter chocolate banana one, and I have a recipe for that. And their other favorite one is just a berry one that my husband makes. But in both those smoothies, we add kale. And you guys probably already know that kale is pretty potent in its flavor, and that's because it's so nutrient rich. But when we make these smoothies, it's hidden, like the kids don't even notice it. So it's really great to get that extra nutrition in for you and for your kids. So we freeze it and just pull it out whenever we need it for a smoothie or soup or anything like that. You can dry kale even if you wanted to. You can make kale chips. Kale chips are amazing, and the kids love kale chips too. There are so many options. There's so much that you could do with it. But I just love it the most because it's so nutrient rich, like crazy nutrient rich, especially when you're going through pregnancy, birth, having a baby, and one of those vitamins you really want to focus on is vitamin K. When I had updated my my kale in my diet, did I just say updated? I probably just said updated. When I increased my intake of kale and other dark leafy greens and even lettuce, even salad, because it's so high in vitamin K, my vitamin K levels were through the roof, and this was when I was not even supplementing it. I believe it was at the beginning of one of my pregnancies, and got my blood work done. And so that's just a super bonus, super encouraging. So as you know, a lot of my videos are about pregnancy, birth, and delivery. So that's one of the things that you can think about growing. You can grow in small containers. You don't need a lot of space. It's super duper easy. And there's so many awesome recipes out there to make it, you know, taste better, a little bit more enjoyable, because it's hard to eat just like that. It's super, you know, the flavor. It's a little bit bitter, a little bit tough to chew, but there's so many different ways and recipes to use kale now. So I highly encourage you to start growing it. It's amazing. As you saw, I was also planting some beets. I've got other things growing as well, and lettuce and that sort of stuff, and that ginormous kale. Let's see what happens with that. I'm so excited. And as for spacing, like you saw, I just threw it down. And I want to give you some awesome advice for throwing down seeds, because people make it look so difficult. Like, you've got to do this, you've got to space it right, you've got to blah, 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 blah. And yes, I think it helps to a degree, and you've got to have as much knowledge as you can, I think, about it, getting into it, because you don't want to waste your seeds, you don't want to waste your time, and you want to be as efficient as possible with planting. Now for me though, like you saw in the video, I'm sowing the seeds, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to thin them later. So instead of spreading them out, 12 inches apart or whatever, and hoping they come up, usually I have great luck with things like kale and beets, and I have other stuff in there too, but lettuces, kale, beets, arugula, I usually have great luck with that. I don't know about you guys, but let me know any tips and advice you have on growing those things. So I'm not too worried, but I did spread it out just so I can thin it out to, you plant a few seeds here and there, and you thin it out by pulling out the weakest or the smallest sprout that doesn't look the greatest. You just pull it out. That kills me. I hate doing that because it's growing, and if I let it grow, it would grow some food, and so I want to keep it, and pulling it out is just like cringing, like, God, why? But it's worth it because you're taking that space out, leaving room for the good hardy one to grow and get all the nutrients it needs. So I know it's worth it. So I'm going to be doing that this year. So that's how I sowed the seeds this time. Now I'm sowing at a very specific time. Sorry, I'm swatting myself the whole time. It's horrible. I'm doing it a very specific time this week because of the weather. I know that the weather is still going to be cool up until very possibly early June. But we've got a very good week this week of hot weather. And I know that this weekend we're gonna have, so in a couple days we're gonna have a really good rainfall. Now, rain compared to watering, like a thunderstorm, your stuff's gonna come up like the next day. I don't know if y'all had the same experience, but like every time there's a thunderstorm or rain or whatever, natural rain, natural watering, everything sprouts the next day. Everyone says it'll take like 3 days for this plant to sprout and this many days for this plant to sprout. I'm telling ya that everything sprouts for me right after a rainstorm or rain. So I'm taking advantage of it this weekend, planting my cold hardy stuff so that if it does get cold again, it's okay, it'll withstand the cool temperatures, but it should all sprout up this weekend. I don't know. I mean, it might work, it might not. Let's find out. I'm gonna save these videos. I'm gonna take a video after this weekend and see what happens with the sprouts. I'm not even gonna bother watering. I'm gonna let the seeds sit there and get ready for the rain, and see what happens. Now, I also have some melons and lopes and squash in the back of the garden, like I showed you, and I feel like it might not be the best time to plant those because I know they need a lot of warmth, but I have those little greenhouse containers over top. You guys want to take a guess and see if it's gonna work out or not? We'll find out. Anyways, stay tuned. Let's see what happens.